It was a chilly and windy midwinter evening with large snowflakes filling the air, which caused my best friend Alexander, Alex among his friends, to drive slowly on that lonely Scandinavian county road. We were on our way to my home in a rented Ford Transit van. Due to the bad weather, we were later than planned, but I didn't care because this sad day couldn't be worse than it already was. All lights in my house were switched off, but as expected, a black BMW, covered by several centimeters of newly fallen snow, stood parked on my driveway. Had I not fixed the lock in my garage, the BMW would have been hidden inside there. Lex parked the Ford on the street so the BMW would have a free way out. Lex asked me, "Are you okay?" "I am okay." Lex kept talking. "So far it seems to be exactly as you feared. Do you still want to go on as you've planned?" "You do." I think Lex was a bit unsure about me because he asked, "Okay, I'm with you, but stay cool. For heaven's sake, don't go too far." "No, I'll only do what I have to do." We went to the house. I unlocked and opened the front door and we went in. Lex took up his digital camera. I waited while he made it ready, and then he followed me to the master bedroom. No reaction from the room when I slowly opened the door. Then I switched on the light and rushed to the bed, dragged off the comforter, and just as expected, we saw two people sleeping there. One of them was my common-law wife Anna, and the other was Samuel Albertson, an accountant working with her and usually known by his nickname Asshole Albertson. Anna began screaming when I dragged Albertson off the bed, hit him hard several times in his belly with my right fist before giving him a hard kick between his legs so he fell to the floor. With a hard kick to his ass, I ordered him to rise up from the floor. When he was up, I dragged him to the front door where a new hard kick sent him flying in the snow. Lex took pictures as fast as the flash on the camera allowed him to do. Back in the bedroom, I shouted to Anna, "The damn hole out there needs his clothes." She screamed, "Oh, my God. Did you throw him out in a snowstorm?" "Shut up and don't blame me. I didn't strip him. Get his damn clothes out of my house." She collected his clothes and left the bedroom. I think she put on a coat and her boots at the hall before she went out to him, and a few minutes later we heard him drive away. When Anna was back in the house, I told her that I didn't want any excuses or explanations because the only thing that remained for her to do in this house was to get dressed, pack her belongings, and get out. But the only thing she could do for the time being was to sit down in a kitchen chair and cry loudly. After a while, she dressed, rang for a taxi, and left. Lex went for the Ford and we took in the cardboard boxes to the house, and he and I began to pack Anna clothes and other personal belongings in the boxes. In the morning, we loaded the boxes and her new TV into the van, and I took it to her parents' house. Nobody opened the entrance door when we rang the bell, so we piled the cardboard boxes and the TV against the house. While looking at the windows, both Lex and I was sure we saw somebody watching us behind the curtains. Anna's driving license was canceled for speeding, and as I owned her car, we let it remain in the garage. Back at the house, we changed all locks before we left for the next town, which was Lex's current hometown where he had rented the Ford Transit. After a short stop at his home, we went skiing for a week in the mountains where our two friends already were waiting for us in a rented cabin. I'm Michael Hagan, a 32-year-old owner of a small but rather profitable small factory, specializing in making patented high-quality steel clips sold to customers in 14 countries. It was my uncle who invented and built the automatic multi-operation machine, the only one of its kind, which makes them. When he retired, he sold it to me for a fair price. A single mother working half-time and I were the only employees. Once again, I had a crushed relationship. I sent Anna a text message and suggested we meet to sharing some other things in our home when I got back from my vacation. Lex, me, and the two other friends, whom we joined at our vacation, used to be lucky with horses. We put some money on B75 every week, and so far we had gone plus every year. B75 is a very popular and very big weekly horse game. The simple rule is to pick out the winners in 7 trotting races. 7 winners in a bet can give anything between 120 million equal to US dollars depending on the number of unexpected high-odds winners in the races, and far less prizes for bets with 6 and 5 winners. Of course, to pick out 7 winners in 7 races would be a genuine mission impossible if it hadn't been for the very low price, equal to 8 US cents a bet. Most people used to pick out a single winner in 2 of the races and have the other 5 races covered with several horses in each race. Our gang usually gambled for amounts equal to 200 to 250 in US dollars a week, which gave us system with 1,500 to 2,000 bets. If I could be regarded as lucky with horses, it was quite opposite with girlfriends. Usually it was easy for me both to get them and get rid of them. San, the girl before Anna, was a real beauty, tall, slim, and naturally blonde, but unfortunately she fit into the description as stupid blonde. Many guys in town regarded me as a fool when I dumped her, but I found it impossible to be with a woman who never did anything at all at home and spent everything she earned on clothes, hair, and makeup equipment. Though I got some money from B75 and took a fair salary from my company, which gave me a good living for an average guy, I was too poor to afford an expensive trophy girl like San, especially after her interest for fun began to be limited to quickies. We parted without quarrel, and she almost immediately met a wealthier guy who was happy with a new trophy girlfriend. I met Anna, who was quite different and in many ways a dream girl during our first 4 years together until her company hired asshole Albertson as their new accountant. Albertson is a funny guy in many strange ways. He is the most clever and best-paid tax expert and accountant in this small town. Living a good life with a lovely, beautiful wife, 2 nice small kids, and one of the nicest houses in town, he got into serious problems when his wife at last caught him cheating. She kept him sweating for some time before she forgave him after counseling and his promises never to do it again. To keep some pressure on him, she demanded and he agreed to give her their expensive house as her private property. Albertson kept his promises and was faithful for almost a year before he was caught again. Now she kicked him out and filed for divorce. After sharing their stocks, bank accounts, and losing the expensive house, Albertson moved in with his mother in her big house. Though he had several discreet affairs while married, now he forgot all scruples. He sold his family car and bought an expensive BMW as a real extender. In this country, we have a national car register with 3 random chosen characters and 3 digits on the plates. Albertson's BMW had a plate that began with AHA. The rumors goes that the first time Albertson came to the golf club with his new BMW and began bragging about the car, one of the present members said, "Oh, if you're taking that damn extender to Scotland during your next golf trip there, the Scots will be convinced that AHA stands for asshole Albertson." After some laughter, one of the other golfers, who obviously didn't like Albertson, said, "Oh, it means exactly the same thing here too. Like we use English words such as swing, hook, green, birdie, eagle, hole-in-one, and several others in golf, Albertson's new English nickname was accepted without any problem among the golfers. From that moment, many club members began to call him for asshole Albertson, probably because he had caused a very sad divorce for a nice couple at the club, and his habits of using his wealth and social talents for seducing other men's wives and girlfriends rather soon got his new nickname spread all over the town. Albertson didn't like me very much since I had refused to vote for him as chairman in our marina club, which had left him yelling at me about paying back with interest. Obviously, he saw his possibilities to get 2 flies in 1 hit when the old accountant at Anna work retired and Albertson was hard to replace him. Probably he would have made his attempts on a lovely woman like Anna, whoever she had been married to. But now he didn't see any disadvantages of both getting even with me and having fun with the very nice woman I intended to marry in the future. As usual, Albertson did a good job when he immediately saw how old and inefficient their accounting system was and persuaded the owners to purchase new modern computer programs and assisted Anna to get used to them. Of course, they had lunches together now and then, and as there were nothing strange with that, I hadn't any reason to care about what Anna did at her work or with whom she had her lunch. Then she began to show signs of her increasing interest for Albertson. She told me he did so and so, the price of his Rolex, how much he bragged about having one in Monte Carlo compared to the peanuts that I, in his opinion, got from the horses, and much more of his bragging. When she began to dress in different ways those days Albertson would come to her work, I had enough and tried to have a friendly talk with her about his earlier known seductions of married women and the consequences it had caused them and what it would do to her if she went too far in her admiration of Albertson. Anna didn't appreciate my kind warnings, not at all. Instead, she became angry as a wasp and accused me of being a jealous nerd who saw ghosts in daylight because I probably envied a successful man like Albertson. I really did my best to get Anna to understand that this asshole Albertson most of all wanted to get even with me because in his opinion I had seriously humiliated him at the Marina Club. I told her that he was slowly working for his chance to get with her, and when he had done that, she would be out of my life and probably even out of Albertson's because his only interest was the fun, not any relationship. Nothing happened in that matter before the V75 gang had booked our annual Boys' Week at a winter holiday resort in the north. Albertson had been away to see the national hockey team playing a match in our county capital, and several drinks later at the hotel bar after the match he had bragged about getting a creep's lovely wife very hot, and when the creep went skiing in the mountains, he would spend the nights with that lovely wife. Though the admirers had promised to keep quiet, one of them had told his wife, who told her sister, who told her fellow worker, who told her husband, who happened to be one of my V75 friends. He knew about asshole Albertson's increasing interest in Anna and told me so we could make our plans to take care of that problem. My plan had been simple. Before going to the vacation, I fixed the garage doors so they could not been opened from any side, so Albertson had to park his BMW visible on my driveway. On my way to the north, I would make a stop at Lex's house for a couple of days if necessary while waiting for information from a friend about a black BMW on my driveway. We had rented a Ford Transit and bought cardboard boxes and been ready to go when we got the expected message. Lex had taken many pictures during the debacle at my house. Some of them were very good. He was even a very skilled Photoshop user and couldn't resist the temptation to fix Albertson to a very tiny size in the pictures. I sent Anna a color picture in A4 size of her and Albertson in the bed after I dragged away the comforter. I wrote on the backside, "And hopefully this picture of you and the man in your dreams can replace the wedding picture I never got a chance to get taken and give you." I have never pretended to be a nice guy and jolly good fellow because it's okay for me to be an average man with some shortcomings and some advantages. A short time after my debacle with Albertson, I managed to hear the whispers behind my back that said, "There goes the wimp who got his girlfriend FD by Albertson." The rumors say that my friends had felt sorry for me, worried for my health, and had decided that Albertson needed a real lesson. Obviously, they knew that most color printer leaves a small invisible ID on the picture and can be traced, so some of them bought a stolen printer during his visit at the Capitol. Then some of them had written and printed a leaflet with a picture of Albertson in the snow with Albertson's accounting company's logotype with phone and fax numbers. Over the picture was a text, "A new extended service." Under the picture they had written, "As a real Nordic Viking, I proudly want to announce that I will be serving your female employees with all kind of service for personal pleasures. References on request." Of course, while making those leaflets, they had never worked without rubber gloves or licked any stamps. When the printing was ready, the USB drive and the printer was to be dumped in one of the old water-filled deep mining pits in the forest. Exactly as the authors had planned, the leaflet caused the expected attention and consequences. Albertson went to the police and accused me. His lawyer sued me for libeling Albertson, and I sued Albertson for accusing me. Both Anna and her father rang me. She only cried, and he threatened to beat me. Several of my friends and even several of my customers accused me of spreading it. Though I denied all knowledge of that leaflet, even one of my best friends told me I had gone too far in my vendetta with Albertson and canceled our monthly chess games. A policeman rang and asked me if I knew anything about the Albertson leaflet, and I told them the truth that I had got one by mail to my company, but I had no female employees who could been interested in his services, so I had thrown it in the wastebasket. The rumors in town said that Albertson had been furious and thrown things at his office when he had got a letter from the police that had said, "Well, your cause is removed from the cause list because any conclusive evidence of crime is not found." He complained to the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Judiciary and Civil Administration, who only had replied with a short standard letter that no valid reason for a complaint was found. Once again, Albertson had been loudly screaming and swearing about our legal system. The gossip said that Albertson had sworn to pay back with interest, so I had hired a security company for keep an eye on my properties, and one of their night patrols had succeeded in catching a man throwing a stone in a window. That fit me perfectly because the man was one of Albertson's employees. Then Anna found out that she was pregnant and decided to keep the baby, probably in some kind of hope that I would take her back. I didn't and refused to sign any papers or pay anything at all before a DNA test. When the authorities tried to push me into agreeing to be the father, I told them they better ask Albertson, who had intercourse with her after me. While my vengeance with Albertson went on as planned, I wasn't very successful with women for the time being. At my age of 32, the number of available single women in the right ages was a bit limited in my small Scandinavian town. The main disadvantage in a small town is that everyone knows everybody and their backgrounds. It is not funny to be together with a girl when knowing all about her background and if she's been an easy in her younger days. I did like many others, tried my luck on the web. My first 3 dates were real fiascos in different ways. The worst one was 38, but had used a photo, which was at least 10 years old. One another was married and demanded that her husband be allowed to watch if we had fun next time we met. We didn't do that because there was no next time. The third was very handsome, indeed, a 26-year-old redhead, but she had too many problems, obviously many of them economic, which she expected me to solve. I didn't. Then I met Nina. She was great in many ways except one big problem. She had a weird dog, which was the main reason for her boyfriend dumping her. I liked dogs and had never had any problem with any dog until I met Nina and her dog. I really did my best to befriend that animal, but without any hint of success, and as she refused to get rid of it, we gave up our attempts to be a couple and I had to confess that the dog was the winner. When Albertson heard about Nina, her dog, and me, he sent her a dog collar and a message saying that it would be useful now when she had two mad dogs. To my great surprise, Albertson's ex-wife Catherine rang me about the Marina Club's annual spring ball and asked me if I had a lady or if I could escort her. A membership in the Marina Club is both more difficult to get and more expensive than a membership in the local golf club. The simple reason is that there are no exact limits for the number of members in a golf club, but in the Marina Club the number of members were limited to the number of spaces for their boats. During a short meeting, Albertson's ex and I agreed to go together to the ball, but without any further intentions. The simple reason why I once had not voted for Albertson as chairman was that before he was elected he had accepted bribes for giving memberships to some of his cohorts, though the waiting list for a membership was several years. Exactly as expected, the ball was a great event with many photos in our local newspaper. One big color photo of Catherine and me outside the ballroom caused much gossip in town. Albertson wasn't looking very happy when he found out whom I was escorting. One sunny day something happened that gave us local single men a great challenge. Erica Peterson, a very beautiful, easygoing 28-year-old nurse who had been living in the country capital since she went to the nurse school 10 years ago, had gotten a job, met her husband, and settled down there. Her happiness had lasted until the day when she had forgot something at home and went there and found her husband having fun with his 22-year-old secretary in their marital bed. She divorced him and now she was back in our town again with her 2-year-old son. Her brother and I had been classmates at the school, so I knew him rather well, and when Erica and her brother met me at the supermarket's cafeteria, we had a pleasant small talk. Erica's brother joked that we two divorcees ought to have a date. I replied that it was a good idea and suggested to Erica that Saturday we take a trip to a big zoo park together with her little boy. She told me that she was busy elsewhere that weekend, but would be happy to go with me the next Saturday. We even decided to meet Wednesday evening to talk about the trip. I really looked forward to meeting Erica, and we met at a cafe just as we had agreed. Everything was fine until she told me what she had done during the last weekend. She had seen a musical at our capital, had a dinner at one of the best restaurants there, and spent the night at Sheraton. I asked, who was the happy guy? She replied, a Samuel Albertson. Is he a friend of yours? What could I say? Off all available single men, she had choose to date the worst creep Albertson, who had really done his best to impress on her. The musical had been sold out for many months, so the tickets must cost him a fortune on the black market. Though my own date now sounded like a cheap budget alternative compared to his, I decided to continue my own race as planned and not care about Albertson. So I replied, I know him rather well, but wouldn't be honest if I called him a friend. She didn't ask me more about him, and I doubted it would be of any advantage for me to say anything negative about him at that moment. Instead, we talked about our trip. Both Erica and her son Elliot were in a good mood on Saturday morning when I did catch them at her parents' house. Erica must have told him about the animals because he talked a lot about them during the drive to the zoo park. During our walk around the park, we had a coffee break at a cafe where we got a table next to a couple with a boy the same age as Elliot, and they began to play and had fun together. When we walked into the restaurant for lunch, the family we met at the cafe was already sitting there and waved us to their table. We joined them, and now even we adults began talking with each other. Most visitors walked through the large park via a suggested path in the Svensons, and we decided to walk together through the remaining area we hadn't seen yet. The small boys had fun together. During our walk, Anna Svensson told Erica that they were living in a small village without any other small boys in their son's age. Then she asked Erica, Anderson, I would be glad if your husband and Elliot could come to see us during a weekend so the kids can play together. We have a small guest house on the lawn near our house. Erica's reply caused confused looks in their faces when she replied, I regret to say that my husband and I have filed for divorce and can't do anything together for the time being. My friend Michael here is not involved in my divorce. My husband caused it and had his secretary to assist him. Anna replied with a laugh, I thought you and Michael were newlyweds. You look so happy together. I said, I can only hope that we will be that someday. Anders said, I'm sure Erica won't say no thanks to a nice guy like you. What about the weekend? Anna suggested. It would be perfect for me, so I replied, it would be a great pleasure. What do you say, Erica? She smiled and said, many thanks for your kind invitation. Of course we will accept it. Wow, one date and she's ready to jump into bed with him? That seems awfully quick. One more weekend booked with Erica. The family theme was okay for me. During our drive back, we agreed that Anna, Anders, and Emil were a nice family and both of us expected it to be a pleasant weekend. Then Erica told me that Samuel had invited her to go with him to Manchester in England to see a soccer match with Manchester United and for some shopping, and she had accepted. Albertson and some friends of his had rented a private plane because one of his friends who had the flight certificate needed flight time. I didn't comment on that. Albertson didn't save any efforts to outshine me in this competition, which would not be difficult even with their second date. Of course, what was a barbecue with friends and a night in small guest house at a small village compared with a flight in a private plane to England and a high-class hotel there? Albertson was sure that he could impress Erica and win her with his expensive dates, but I'm thinking that she feels much more comfortable together with Elliot, our new friends, and me. When we planned our date, Erica and I even agreed to have dinner at my house when we were back in our hometown. I had prepared most of the food in advance and did the rest of the cooking while Erica got Elliot ready for the night. The dinner was rather romantic with good wine, candlelight, and soft music. We talked of many things, except Albertson, until Erica said, "Oh, I hope you will understand that fun is out of question for me until my divorce is final." Samuel and I had a little quarrel about it when I refused to share a room with him during the last weekend, but I'm sure he knows better for our next date. I understand. I'm sure you do. It was so sweet of you to tell Anna that you wanted to be newlywed with me. That's true. There's something very special about you. I'm only a divorcee with a kid. Elliot is a great kid and he has a great mom. I really like both of you. Your ex must have been crazy when he messed up with you. Elliot likes you too. I'm glad for that. Glad to hear that, and I would be twice as glad if even his pretty mom would like me. Of course I do, very much indeed. After some further talking about other subjects, she asked, "Oh, why did you and Anna split up?" I caught her cheating. Any plans to forgive her? No, it was too humiliating. She did it after we had been talking about wedding, honeymoon, and Hawaii and children. Why Hawaii? It sounds exotic. Not only Hawaii, we even talked about Las Vegas, Grand Canyon, and California Coast Road because both of us wanted to go there. Now it is written in the stars if somebody wants to marry me and if she is interested in that trip. Now she gave me a bright smile, laughed and said, "Oh, I would like go to Hawaii. Marry me and we are on the road." She continued laughing and said, "Oh, it's a temptation, but I'm already married for the time being." She slept in my spare room, and during breakfast we decided to spend even the Sunday together at my house. It was a pleasant day. We played with Elliot, went out for lunch, and took a long walk. We had no date booked during the next week. Erica had a date with Albertson on Tuesday, and then they would fly to Manchester on Saturday morning and be back home on Sunday. Therefore, I had a real surprise when she rang my doorbell about 8 o'clock on Tuesday evening. It wasn't difficult to see that she was very angry for some reason. I asked her to come in, and she sat down at the kitchen table and told me, "Oh, I have some questions for you and want to hear the truth. Lie to me and you can forget me." What's the matter? I've been honest with you so far, and of course I'll continue to tell you the truth. Samuel says that you used to call him Albertson behind his back, and now even several other people have began to using that awful nickname. Is that true? No, of course not. That's not a nickname because asshole Albertson fits perfectly on that creep. Of course, many others and I are using it in front of him. Did he tell you where and why he got that name? He says that you are calling him that because you envy him and hate him. Of course I hate him. I hate him very much, indeed. But I will never envy him. Did he really send you here to complain about his damn name? Do you want to know the truth? Erica hesitated for a while before replying, "No." He begged me not to do that, which I promised him. But I was so angry and disappointed about you that I couldn't resist finding the truth already this evening. Do you really think you can win my love with such dirty slander? I didn't expect you to be on such low level. My dear Erica, the truth is that I have avoided saying anything negative to you about your dear friend Albertson. Haven't I? The truth is that there was no need for me to do that because a clever woman like you would, sooner or later, hopefully sooner, find out what a creep that man really is. If you have anything to say about Samuel, I want to hear it here and now and only the truth. There is no need for me to tell you any lies about Albertson because the truth is bad enough. Please let me tell you the whole story before you dump me. Can you promise me that? Yes, I'll do my best. Go on. There is no doubt that Albertson is the best tax expert and accountant in this town and that he has great social skills. But I have a fair reason to hate that man. My first quarrel with him was when I stopped him from becoming the chairman of the Marina Club because I knew he had already accepted bribes to let his friends sneak past the long waiting list for membership. He swore to pay me back with interest. I continued. Of course he managed to do that. As a rich, generous, verbal, and good-looking guy, he is probably the most successful hound in this town with several divorces, even his own, on his personal record. He got his chance when the company hired him where my ex-common-law wife Anna works, and he assisted her with their new accounting system. He began courting her, first in rather innocent ways, and then slowly increased his efforts when he noted her responses. Of course, I did my best to warn her of Albertson and the consequences she would get of letting him go too far with her. But I neither wanted nor could make any attempts to watch her at her job, and when I went skiing for the annual V75 Players Week in the mountains, he decided to use that great opportunity to get into her. But as usual, he couldn't resist the temptation of bragging to his cohorts that his prey was ready, and he would do that in her damn spouse's bed as soon as he had left for vacation. One of them told his wife, who told her sister, and the gossip went on until even I knew their plans. I went on with my story. I decided that if she let that infamous hound Albertson visit her in my house when I was away, she had lost my confidence, and if I surprised them in action, she would be out. Due to very bad weather and traffic problems, I came back home too late to catch them in action, but I found both Anna and him sleeping naked in our bed. Erica remained quiet, and I gave her the photo of Anna and Albertson in a bed before I continued. That was the end for Anna and my relationship, and, as usual, Albertson didn't give a s about Anna after I dumped her. By the way, his pet name or nickname Albertson comes from the license plate on his BMW, which begins with AHA, and it was a member at the golf club who gave him that name after Albertson had caused a very tragic divorce for a nice couple there. Looking her straight in the eyes, I continued, I wouldn't be surprised if Albertson even whined about me and his ex-wife Charlotte, since it is true that we went together to the Marina Club spring ball. But it was totally innocent, and she asked me to escort her because the ball is for members and their spouses only, and I don't have a spouse and she is not a member, so it was simply a practical solution. I said, I have one more serious thing left to tell you about Anna, Albertson, and me. She is pregnant, and I believe that Albertson is the father, but it will be a case for DNA testing. Now I remained silent, and Erica asked me, did you tell me the truth? Yes, I told you the truth. If you don't believe me, ask people in town. Why haven't you told me anything before? Because I hope to have enough with my own advantages to win your love. That's why I chose to date you in simple ways, which gave us a fair chance to really know each other before we went further. Albertson preferred to date you in a different manner, and it is up to you to decide whom you prefer over the other, or if you don't like any of us after what I told you. I can tell you that I had much more fun during the date with you, and I really look forward to the family weekend with Anna and Anders. So, I'm not dumped yet? Obviously not. I really hope you didn't lie to me. No, I didn't. By the way, you never told me why Albertson began whining about his pet name. We had tea and shrimp sandwiches at the small restaurant besides the bank when two couples came in there, and one of the women almost yelled with a loud voice, there is Albertson seducing some poor silly wife. Dearby, skip that damn before it's too late for you. Erica said that several of the other guests had laughed loudly, but Albertson had not dared to say a word before the couples were seated at the other end of the restaurant. Then he had begun to accuse me of creating his nickname and spreading nasty lies about him. Erica left, and to my surprise she was back at my house on Thursday and told me that she had asked a lot of people about Albertson, even his ex-wife, and all of them had confirmed what I had told her. Albertson had told her that the other guys had refused to take a woman with them on a football trip, so he canceled their date, and he hadn't been too sorry because he sold her seat in the plane and the match ticket for a high price to one of his friends. Erica told me that Elliot was with his dad that weekend and asked if she could spend the weekend with me at my house. Of course, I agreed and even offered to take her to a nice hotel somewhere, but Erica said she preferred a lazy weekend at home. After a very romantic dinner on Friday evening, we ended up necking. I got horny and noted that even she was hot, very hot indeed. But she whispered in my ear that she intended to let the fun wait until she was divorced. During all my adult life, I have always remembered what an old man said to me when I was a boy. Everything is possible if you try damn hard. I did my very best to keep her hot, and after a long intensive kiss I whispered in her ear, I love you and I'm dreaming about being your husband. But it's fair that we'll have some practice before our wedding night so everything will be perfect then. Erica's reply took me with total surprise when she whispered, I must agree to that. Thereafter, it was only a question of a few seconds before both of us were in my new bed. Of course, we didn't need any practice because the fun was great from the very beginning. I was convinced without any doubt that it was some of the very best fun I ever had taken any part of. Even Erica must have felt the same because she was totally wild until our ending, and afterwards, as soon as she was back to normal breathing, she said, "You must marry me. You must do that. Promise me that. Do you?" I proposed and she said, "Yes." I was suspicious about how easy I had won against Albertson, but expected him to keep a low profile until he sooner or later found some excuse to try again with increasing courting of Erica if we became a couple. Then I found the real reasons why Albertson gave up the competition about Erica. Her ex had been promoted to a real top job and wanted her back as one of the leading ladies in our county. No doubt that Albertson expected to get a good laugh at my expense when she left me, especially now after he had managed to get a new gorgeous girlfriend, a lawyer who would work 1 year at the local law firm. She could be described as 9 points of 10 available. However, Erica, Elliot, and I had a very pleasant weekend together with Anna, Anders, and their son Emil. Erica and I even got in some quickies while Elliot slept. The next week was a difficult time for me because Erica was going to see her ex during the weekend and discuss the possibilities of canceling the ongoing divorce and go on with their marriage and give Elliot a fair chance to grow up with both of his real parents. I kept a low profile and told her that it was her own decision. Albertson had sent her a nice card wishing her and her husband good luck. But Erica said that she had sent it back to him with a comment that suggested he put it up in the place advised by his pet name. Obviously, she didn't like him very much any longer, probably because he had dumped her when he canceled their England date. Erica left early on Saturday morning. She gave me a hug and was gone, probably forever. I had a feeling that she really wanted to save her marriage, but I couldn't blame her. We had agreed that she wouldn't contact me before she was back again, either to collect her belongings or to stay forever with me. It was a long, sad day for me. My V75 friends shoved up after lunch so we could follow our gambling on one of the commercial TV channels. Though we had all 7 races right and won a fair amount, equal to around $23,000 in US dollars, I couldn't show any happiness at all, which made my friends seriously worried. They had seen me go further after a number of crushed relationships before, but never before seen me so wrecked, not even after my separation from Anna. Lex said what all of us knew, "You really love this woman with all your heart." I wasn't in any mood to go out celebrating, so we rang for Chinese food and stayed at my house. About 10 o'clock in the evening, all of us were really surprised when Erica came back with a big black eye. After she had told me that she intended keeping her part of our wedding plans, and after she and I had hugged and kissed for several minutes, she told us that it was her ex who had hit her. After my friends had left us, Erica told me everything about the meeting with her ex. When they met, he had taken her on a tour of his new office and bragged about all-included benefits. Then he had taken her to a big old house in one of the best-regarded expensive old areas with a nice view over the local lake. The house was for sale and the present owner had agreed to show it to them. Erica didn't like the old area because there were no other kids of Elliot's age. She even disliked the house. It was too big for their needs and even in need of much maintenance. When she had told her ex about her doubts, he only said that she could work part-time and use the remaining time to assist the maintenance people. He had left an offer with the broker, and if it were accepted, the house would be his. Already his selfish choice of a house that Erica didn't want to live in had put her in very negative mood against the whole idea about forgiving him and continuing their marriage. When she asked him about the price and monthly expenses for it, he had told her that it wouldn't cost her anything at all because he intended to keep it as a private investment. After the house tour, the ex had told her about his plans for the evening. He had rented a room and booked a dinner at the best hotel in town and suggested they go to the room for some rest before dinner. Erica had refused to do that and told him that she had an appointment with a friend. She hadn't, but now she knew for sure that she didn't love him any longer and had no interest in any hotel room fun before the dinner with him. When they met for dinner, he had immediately asked her if she had met a new man. She said, "Yes, I have, and today I have been convinced that he is my love, and there is no possibilities to repair our marriage because you and I have drifted too far apart. Let's be happy for all the good times we had together, part as friends, and go forward in our new lives." He hadn't agreed. Obviously, he had been drinking too much before the dinner, and now he showed his very bad temper and began to call her names in a loud voice. When she had left the table, he had followed her to the parking lot where he hit her, but was interrupted by a man who had seen it and rushed to her assistance. Erica, Elliot, and I had a good family life in my house. Her ex must have regretted his bad behavior very much because he gave her a fair settlement for their divorce and offered to let me adopt Elliot. Erica and he agreed about their divorce, and then Erica, He and I met, and all three of us agreed that Erica and Elliot living as a family with me would be the best solution for Elliot. Erica, Elliot, and I were living together as a happy family. Albertson hadn't bothered us with any tricks since he met his handsome lawyer girlfriend. We had a typical small-town life until Anna gave birth to her baby boy. I refused to sign any papers, and the DNA gave me the proof that I wasn't the father. Then we got the great surprise when rumors of Albertson's DNA test got out in town. The baby wasn't his. After a while, the social welfare authorities got Anna to confess a short affair with a married fellow worker, whose wife took their 2 children and immediately left him. To my great surprise, Albertson's lawyer girlfriend invited me to lunch. She was a really classy and bright-minded lady. After some polite small talk, she went straight to her errand and told me that she had canceled Albertson's case against me, so it was up to me if I would drop my case against him, which I promised her to do. Though she didn't expect Albertson and me to be friends, she wanted us to behave like adults and forget our silly vendetta. In her opinion, I had gotten a fair revenge when Albertson had let me win the competition about Erica. I told her he aimed higher and I can hardly believe he feels like a loser. She smiled and said, "Do you envy Samuel and want to change Erica for me?" I replied with a smile, "Oh, I really admire you, but must say, no thanks because I really love Erica." She promised me that Albertson would keep his mouth shut about Anna baby. I had to agree with her that in some strange way he had done me a favor when Anna earlier cheating was brought out to my knowledge. We parted with a hug, and it was a great benefit for all of us to have put a stop to the vendetta between Albertson and me. During a vacation at the Spanish island Gran Canaria together with our very good friends the Svensson family whom we met during our first date at the zoo, Erica and I married at the Scandinavian church in St. Augustine. After a number of failures, I had gotten a loving wife.
Make sure to subscribe.